So the problem with education at the moment is it's a system that was designed many, many years ago, and the world has changed. We've got super complex problems that we just don't sit in subject areas, they go across subjects. So what creativity does is it allows schools to change themselves, to be transformed, and they're equipping young people for the problems of tomorrow and the challenges of tomorrow, not just the challenges of 100 years ago.
Well, Sydney Opera House is going through a decade of renewal, which is about how do we take this extraordinary World Heritage building and meet the needs of 21st century Australians.
In partnership with the Sydney University, we've developed a pedagogy which helps teachers teach creativity. It's called the Creativity Cascade. It's a very simple 4-step program which teachers can take and apply in the classroom.
So that's pretty awesome, isn't it?
So we invite principals and their senior leadership team to come to an ignition day at the Sydney Opera House where they design a focused question for their school using the Cascade as the pedagogical guide.
There's been 2 studies in the last 2 years that say that 50% of jobs that exist now will no longer exist. And the 2 capacities that are going to make a difference are creativity and collaboration. And of course that folds in critical thinking and communication as well.
You'll be identifying an issue that you want to look at in your school, or an area of investigation. Maybe issue is the wrong word.
We then send teaching artists into their school for up to 10 weeks and co-create with students, teachers and hopefully the principal as well, a program of activities that take place both in school and the Sydney Opera House.
My name is Paul Owens. I'm the principal of Kirrawee High School. What we've done so far is try to come up with a focus idea for our creativity project within the school, and for us it's around leadership culture and building a leadership capacity within our students and staff.
Storytelling for us was always something that we wanted to improve on, but we weren't sure how to get there. And the Opera House project has given us an avenue to implement the storytelling around a creative focus, involve a group of students and upskill a group of teachers, which has been fantastic.
My name is Howard Matthew. I'm a teaching artist, a visual artist.
Through an exploration of visual art practice and visual art exercises, Howard took the students on a journey where they examined their personal stories. Then for them to learn about how to perform those stories, we brought them to the Sydney Opera House and they saw a beautiful show and then did a storytelling workshop with the performers after.
My name is Jenny Holland, Principal of Lyneo High School. Prior to the project, this particular science class was underperforming. But after using the Creativity Cascade and doing a range of improvisation activities outside of the school, outside of the classroom, at the Opera House, the students went on to outperform the rest of Year 8 on this particular topic.
Traditional methods just simply weren't working. So the thought of using theatre and games and what have you to get understanding and make understanding possible was much more appealing than continuing to bash my head against a brick wall.
The work we did at the Opera House was focused through the science subject, but the actual outcomes and the way we got there was cross-curricular. It was theatre, it was video, it was multimedia, it was looking at shows through English. It was really a fun and exciting way to explore science.
We developed this heart play, and literally the kids had to become a part of the heart, and the blood travelled through the heart, and some of the kids were blood, and there was an interaction at each time, and we videotaped it and we did it in one take, and it was fabulous. It worked really well. Everyone understood ventricles versus, rhythms and what oxygen does. We used video to show them how that movement was demonstrating a concept that they were struggling to get at the start. The students loved it. The program for them changed the whole mindset about learning. It changed the way that they, experienced the day, the way they turned up to class, attendance was better, everything was better with that class. The whole dynamic of the class changed.
Science and theatre games and embodied learning do go together, and that was the challenging and interesting part of this project for us. It opened our eyes to new possibilities and new ways to approach teaching and learning.
And now that we've shown you our journey to the heart, thank you.
So 2 of the schools involved in the project, Casula Public School and Kirrawee High School, both had very different focus questions. At Kirrawee, the students are going to take over the school on a day. It's going to be a secret festival. It's called Varietas. And they're going to lead big conversations around the idea of respecting difference. It's been a huge project. They come into the Opera House and had, a masterclass in social media campaigning, and they've seen shows, and it's all been about how to run a festival. There was a piece of forum theatre, which is an interactive problem-solving device. There was painting, there was all sorts of dances which got made, and it was a whole documentary which was made by the students, and it all culminated in a fake assembly where the students came up with the idea of convincing their principal to get onto stage and ban all religious iconography and provoke a debate amongst the whole audience in assembly. The rest of the teachers and students thought it was real.
No religious symbols will be allowed in this school from Monday.
And the students would disagree with him and provoke a debate amongst the whole audience in assembly.
When was our decision in this? You didn't ask us.
The decision is in your behaviour.
The bottom line of all the good that we're talking about here is emotion. That's where humans engage. That's where they get excited. That's where they want to be part of something. And it's a building such as the Opera House and the experiences more so within it that will fuel their sort of, dreams and imagination even more with what they're doing back here at school.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's exciting about the project. You're sort of heading into uncharted waters, but you do have a map and you're driven and powered by the Sydney Opera House. And so, who knows where it'll take you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Craig Newman. I work for the Sydney Opera House. Enjoy the show.
This is a really rich, complex project, and the issues that kids and teachers face in schools are rich and complex. For Paul to be up there and to act alongside the kids, and when I've talked to the kids after saying our relationship with teachers are different, they're more human, we understand them as people, and that's enormous for learning, it's enormous for schools. It says something about the power of creativity.
I think what's unique, or what the strength of this programme is that it's underpinned with a really clear pedagogy and theory, and that's really good in terms of a guiding structure. Obviously within a pilot phase, that clarity really helps because it goes so quick.
Welcome to the Opera House. What a great day this is going to be. This is the culmination today of 10 weeks of really hard work. The idea of each child telling their own story, that every individual has their own story. We talked about the whys, why we're doing that, to develop empathy, to develop a rich storytelling arena. The hows, how we would do it through, different types of stylistic storytelling ways. And then we talked about how creativity would be a great tool to see whether we'd achieved our outcomes and whether we had developed empathy in our students and developed a confidence and
a sense of trust, and so they were able to share their stories confidently with others.
And is that why you've done this artwork of Dad in the flood on horseback?
Yeah.
Because that was the best part of the story.
He cared about the children in Ethiopia and he cared about his family.
Now for Rawan. She has a Syrian ancestry.
And Rawan is from Syria, and she said it was very terrifying all the time. You just didn't know how long the bombs would go off for, when they would start and when they would stop. That sort of information is so important to know that, and that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't know any of that without the project.
Each school has benefited in numerous ways. Some of them have really had incredible professional learning outcomes for their teachers. Some of them had incredible outcomes for students. Most of them have had both of those in some way, shape or form. But most importantly is they've had a lot of energy thrown at a very important question which the leader of that school has identified. All these projects look like they're going to continue into the future. What are you most proud of?
Well, it completely changes the way I teach now. So I have incorporated much more play into the way every class I have learns. So right from the Year 7 class that I currently have right through to Year 12, I've literally changed exactly how I deliver content. So we have that incorporation of a bit of fun, a bit of games, but at the same time, they're getting this higher order understanding that they were never getting in the past.
And I think the thrill for me, the spine-tingling thrill for me, was seeing the way the kids engaged in science learning and were able to embrace creativity practices and embodied learning and go with it and enjoy science.
So the Creative Leadership in Learning program, I think, did some amazing things. It brought schools that had never been to the Opera House, in some cases, into the Opera House. But more importantly, it started to give leaders and schools a glimpse of what's possible when creativity is brought into their school culture and their school life. It used the resources of the Opera House and leveraged those resources to mean that these schools had an opportunity that they've never had before. And I think that's the great hope of this project, that schools and teachers and leaders have the opportunity to work together with one of the premier flagship arts organisations and use that place as a resource, making their schools richer places, more exciting places and more relevant places for the future.
If kids have autonomy to direct their learning, if they have challenge, if they have that capacity to be able to build expertise and become good at something, and the important one, do they have meaning? Now, for me, this project absolutely hits every one of those targets, and the meaning comes out of the real world. That's why the kids have gone into this quite higher conceptual area that they have at this school, because for them, emotionally again, it has meaning. They're getting something that they think is real. And what are they doing in the process? They're using the knowledge and skills from every part of the curriculum, from the home, from the co-curricular activities they've been involved in. They're using the sum total of learning that they are bringing as a human being. Now, if that's not good, then I might resign tomorrow from education.